Please listen carefully.
In 2015, I met Ed Walker. Everybody knows that person quite well. Ed gave me this platform here to kind of pitch this story about having a scholarship for refugees. And in 2015, these things were not happening, these rhetoric that you may hear in the news, but I had an idea that will help certain people that go past the public school. Specifically people that come in a certain age and want to continue their education, people in their 20s, 30s, yet they might not have financial stability to do so. So in 2015, I pitched this idea. It worked well. A lot of people said this is great. In 2016, these steps were taken. I met people from Virginia Western. I had people, my own colleagues at the medical school, hear my story and assist me in creating this scholarship. So far, last year, June 20th, it was a World Refugee Day, is when I announced the scholarship. So far, it gotten to that point where we can award 2 scholarships to 2 individuals. So it's $1,000 per year per student. So next year, if I'm not mistaken, we can actually help 2 individuals. We got to that point, and it's really thanks to you, thanks to all the community members who really contributed to this scholarship, and it's really making a difference. As you know, and I don't know if you do know, there's 105 nations represented in this little city, and I would say about 30 or 40 of them are from refugee backgrounds. So I really appreciate what this platform has been done. So I'm gonna bring it all together. My whole goal when I introduced this in 2015, I said I want to bring that person who wins that scholarship to the stage with me so you can hear this fascinating story. I spent 3 years in a refugee camp in Croatia. Some people have been born in it and lived most of their lives in it. This is fairly true for a lot of people in Nepal, and from Nepal, and what I want to do is right now is I cannot leave the stage without thanking a few folks. Colleagues at Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine, Virginia Western Community College for helping out with this, all donors and supporters, Commonwealth Catholic Charities and their staff, Roanoke Refugee Partnership and volunteers, CoLab and Expo. I cannot thank them enough for giving this platform to people like me and people like Dadhi as well, and most of you guys, and all those that try to make a difference. Truly make a difference in this world and trying to support their community the best way they can. Right now, I'm going to hand this over to Dadhi, Dadhi Dangal. Dadhi has an interesting story. We don't have a lot of time, but I really hope you came here to understand. I know you did, and I hope he tells you a story that helps you understand what some people on the other side of the world go through. So, take away, Dadhi.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Namaste. Namaste means good morning in my language. I was born in a small country in Southeast Asia called Bhutan. I'm sure many of you might have never heard about it. It lies in between India and China, India in the south and China, Tibet to the north. It is a small country where 2 different races of people live. I belong to the Nepalese background, and we have other people called Drukpas. So early 1990s, I was 7-year-old, and we had big political turmoil in our country. So me, along with my family, and hundreds and thousands of other Nepali-speaking Bhutanese were forcibly evicted at gunpoint from our country. So I became a refugee at the age of 7. And since then, I spent 18 and a half years in refugee camp in eastern Nepal. So life was far more miserable in the refugee camp than what we, are living here today. And, when we think about somebody talk about refugee, people who have not been through can only imagine what they have been through. But life inside the refugee camp is so worse that we never had enough to eat, drink. I mean, even there is no, it was hard to fulfill the basic needs throughout that long period of time. So in 2008, US government, along with other 7 different nations around the world, decided that our refugee problem was not going to be resolved. We are not going to be accepted by our country, Bhutan. So they decided to resettle us in 7 different countries, including US, Canada, Norway, Norway, Netherlands, Denmark, Australia. So me and my family, we picked USA because, US, we thought, and even today, people in that part of the world, they think that this is the most safest place in the world. This is the greatest nation in the earth. It's not only me, but everybody in those part of the world, they think that this is the land of opportunity. And for me, I came to this country when I was 27. After living in crisis for so long, it was so difficult to start life again. For a refugee like me, they used to tell us during the process of coming to US, USA means U stand for you, Y-O-U-U. S stands for you start your life again as a normal person after you resettled to US. So it happened to me, it was difficult. I came with my parent, my father was 70, and my mother was 65 at that time, and they never went to school. They don't even read and write my own language. So it was difficult for them, but for me, it was a different kind of challenge. Even though I studied English throughout my school life, speaking English was really difficult. So in 2008, it was hard to find a job, even, like a cleaning job or working in a restaurant. It was a really difficult time. So when I look at my parent at the age of 70, that they, without knowing any language, living in a different country with different people, language, it was totally different for them. But for me, at least I can understand people, even those many people would not even understand me while I was talking to them, So it was hard. And I decided to go back to school, do something else. I started taking GED classes, did my GED, went to Virginia Western. I didn't know what to do because the school system here was totally different than what we have back in those countries. And even though I was in refugee camp, I studied. We had little, small school inside the refugee camp where I learned how to read, write, and things like that. So in 2010, I thought I started going back to school. I went to Virginia Western, and I decided to do nursing. So I did. I never had medical background, so I decided to do licensed practical nursing. And it took me a long time because I had to support my family, work full-time, school part-time. So I did that. After a couple of years, I was able to finish my licensed practical nursing. And then I worked for a year, and then I decided to do something more. And then I went back to school and did the bridge program that Virginia Western now has from LPN to RN. So I did that. And on that journey, I was introduced to this refugee scholarship that was introduced by Mr. Elvir here. So I would like to, say thank you to Elvir for providing me such an opportunity. When I received the letter saying that I received the refugee annual scholarship for $1,000, for me, it was like winning a, big lottery, because when I came to this country 7-8 years ago, I only had like $5 in my pocket. So I would really take this moment to, express my sincere gratitude to Elvir and all of his colleagues that supported him to establish this refugee Annual Scholarship, and I hope I will be, able to contribute to your great work one day. So right now I am working as a registered nurse in Louis Gale Medical Center. My future goal, I'm still planning to go back to school starting November of this year. For first week of November, I will be starting at Grand Canyon University. I'm trying to get my master's in nursing. So, things like people like Elvir and people like you, you have supported us in so many different ways, not only financially, but, in a new place, new culture, new life. It's been a great time, and this little city in Roanoke, I have lived somewhere else before this, but this place, people here are so nice, and I really appreciate you guys, supporting Elvir on creating and continuing this Refugee Annual Scholarship. And lastly, I just wanted to say thank you again, and thank you everybody.